Let's talk to Jeff Moon, who's former Assistant US Trade Representative for China. Great to see you again, Jeff. So, look, how unusual really is this reported Nvidia AMD arrangement?
Well, there are several aspects to it. First of all, there have traditionally been no fees for export control licenses. So this is something different. And in addition, my guess is that no one in the past has imposed these fees because the statutes authorizing export controls and the U.S. Constitution prohibit export taxes. So you could argue this is an export tax and it's legally questionable. There is, however, the interesting precedent of the Nippon Steel acquisition of U.S. Steel earlier this year. The context was different, but the government approved the deal on the condition that the U.S. government would receive a golden share in the merged company. And Trump may have imposed that requirement to assuage national security critics and make the case that the deal was a win for the American people. And I speculate that maybe he's trying to do the same thing here.
I do want to talk about what companies are doing to find loopholes or maybe just navigate this environment. But on chips, why don't firms like Nvidia look to making their own high-grade chips to avoid all of this turning export controls into revenue streams?
Well, the semiconductor industry is one of the most complicated industries in the world. And it consists of several different phases. There's a design phase, there's a manufacturing or foundry phase, and there's an assembly and test phase. And firms tend to specialize in those different phases. So NVIDIA designs these very sophisticated chips and then gives those designs to a foundry like TSMC in Taiwan to actually create them. So they can't actually do everything to create these chips. They need help from elsewhere, and that's why it gets complicated.
It does sound complicated, but how else are tech firms and indeed other sectors navigating all of these shifts in trade policy?
Well, it's very tough to know what's going to happen from day to day. I mean, my advice to my clients is to move gradually, don't overreact, because you may guess incorrectly as to what's going to happen next. This is the big problem with Trump's tariff policy, is that no one can predict what's going to happen. And, the most fundamental thing in business needs to be stability so that you can plan ahead.
Well, talking about planning ahead, that tariff pause is due to expire. You're saying don't overreact, but surely there are people sort of scratching their heads and biting their nails right now.
They are, but I think it's a virtual certainty that the pause will be extended not just 90 days as they've discussed in the press, but all the way through until there is a summit between Presidents Trump and Xi in October. And you can see the choreography, the confidence-building measures that they're taking, including the sale of these H20 chips, with the goal of getting to that summit. They are doing their best to avoid disturbances that will derail things. And so I think it's very unlikely the president would not extend this. And in fact, the secretaries of Treasury and Commerce have said in recent days that they think there will be an extension.
Let's wait and see. Always good to talk to you. Thanks so much. Jeff Moon, former Assistant US Trade Representative for China.